If you hear something like make marketing suck less and you're my right client, right? You're going to be like, yeah, marketing does suck. Like how, tell me more. Like, how do I make it suck less? Like, yeah, I want to hear more about this. I first started my business back in the day. I signed up for a training from a very well-known web celeb at the time. And it was the first training and I was sitting there and he said, oh, well, if you don't have expertise, that's not a problem. And I'm like, yeah, but what if you're a real expert? Like if I actually know what I'm doing. And I was like, oh, this isn't for me. Like, and that felt gross. I feel like a lot of times experts are giving all of this like how-to content, and really that's not what they should be doing. One of the things that really ticks me off about business is
you're listening to the Real Business Connections Network. Real Business Connections Network. Powered by Balbert Marketing, LLC. Subscribe now and check us out at realbusinessconnections.com. Enjoy the show.
So, Dr. Michelle, I have a problem, and I've noticed actually a lot of like smart people have a similar problem. It's like the greater their expertise gets, the smarter they get, the more qualified they are. Humility is a good thing, but like they're super qualified, they're an expert, but they're modest, humble, they're curious, they're always learning. So they don't like to be this loud, megaphone marketer, and they hate marketing. And it's like the more you could be marketing and should be marketing, the less you want to do it. Is this a common problem?
It is a super common problem because the people who really know their stuff, who are experts, we'd rather be practicing our expertise, whether that's working with clients or reading more, learning more, than figuring out how to market. And a few years ago, I listened to a podcast called Against the Rules with Michael Lewis. He wrote the book Moneyball, and he did a series about the unsung and overlooked experts. And there was something that he said that I just cannot get out of my mind. He said that the type of people who develop these exquisite expertises are not the same people who sit around thinking about how to market themselves. So experts have a communication problem, a marketing problem, because they are good at what they do. And I think a lot of the times they sit there and they're like, well, I'm great. I get good results. People should just recognize that and hire me. Meanwhile, they're watching the charismatic marketers out there who don't know as much about them get picked and hired and chosen for opportunities, even though they have like an ounce of the knowledge that the expert has. And that is the conundrum. I call them the overlooked expert. They're there, but we're just not seeing them, and they don't feel comfortable, and they don't know how to make their expertise visible to others.
And so there's probably no perfect path. Everyone goes a different route, but a lot of those experts, I imagine, just join a company and they're the back end or they're a specialist, but a lot of them probably don't want to be in a company. So that's where the conundrum. So they're an entrepreneur. You have a PhD in communication, right? So
yes,
they're an entrepreneur. They need to be able to communicate. There's like two ends of the coin, but are they only strong on one end, or how does that work?
Initially, they're only strong on one end, which is operating in their expertise, which works well for a while because they know some people, so they're able to get some work, some word of mouth happens, some referral happens. But we always reach this point where we've kind of tapped out our network and the referrals aren't coming in. And, you can't really rely on referrals. Like you never know when they're going to come. Mm-hmm. So they've done well for a while. They've gotten the referrals, but that network is now getting a little bit more tapped out. And they're like, all right, what do I do? Like I have to market, but I don't know what to say. And when they speak, they tend to overwhelm, sometimes talk over people's heads. And they're so far up their own expertise that they don't know like how to make it relevant to the person who can most benefit from it, because they're not thinking about that. They think like, well, of course you get why this is so important. Like, of course you understand. And the person on the other end feels like they just walked in a movie halfway through and they're like, what is like, why are you telling me these things? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. So what do we do?
The good news is that experts have a lot of strengths that they bring to the table. And one of the things that really ticks me off about business is I see a lot of people, business owners, who supposedly help experts kind of crap all over their expertise. They tell them not to be an expert. They tell them to be relatable. They tell them to be an explorer, to be a human being, as if experts aren't explorers and human beings. And I can't think of anything more relatable than being like obsessed about a topic. So, for what needs to happen for them is they have to use the skills that got them their expertise, that curiosity, that humility of saying, like, hey, you know what? I don't understand the people I'm trying to reach. And that willingness to learn and experiment. And I really believe the first step for experts is they have to become an expert in the person their expertise helps. Because when someone feels like you understand me, you understand my problem at a deeper level, and you get me, like they're in, right? They're like, I am now interested in how your expertise can benefit me. But we have to become the expert. And one of the things I've been playing with, this is kind of a new idea I've been playing with lately, is that experts shouldn't niche, they should specialize in the type of person they serve. Kind of like, so for instance, like I'm recovering from Bell's palsy. I'll be recovering it from the rest of my life. And so I have a doctor. That's all he does is facial paralysis. All he does. That is his specialty. He knows what's going on with me inside and out. And so we need to have that same kind of specialty for the people we want to serve, and really getting to know them and be the expert in them, as well as our subject matter and what we do.
Okay, so where do we start? Like, how do we find this specialty? Like, how do we know? Because maybe I have lots of specialties. I like to do lots of things. How do we get a little more clarity on that?
Yeah. And when I say specialty, I mean a specialty in a person. So, who is that person that you can specialize in, that you know better than anyone else? So, for me, my specialty is like, I understand solo business owners who are experts in their field, who are 3 or more years in business, and who typically tend to be women over 45. That is my specialty. I know these people backwards, forwards. I know what they're saying. I know what they're thinking. I can empathize with them. So for me, it's about when you're starting to think about like, who do I want to specialize in working with? It's asking the question. It's like, all right, they've probably already been working with some people. Who were your top 3 to 5 clients that you loved, right? Start there. The clients that you were like, if I could just have 5 more Bens, my life would be amazing. Like, I just want to clone Ben. Great. Like, let's find Ben and 2 more people and look at their commonalities. Like, what do they have in common? What problems are they facing? What is their lived experience like? And really dive into who they are and what their problems are. What are they saying, thinking, and doing? Because that's then how we can specialize in helping that person with our expertise.
Hmm. Are we like physically asking them? Are we looking at their social profiles? Like, how do we actually get that data?
I am a big fan of voice of customer research. That's from like my market research background. Nothing beats talking to your clients, whether you are doing some interviews. And let's face it, some of these people have already been talking to you. You have their intake forms you can go back to. You have calls that you have done with them that you can listen to for insight. But I am a huge fan of reaching out to them and saying, like, hey, I'm doing some behind the scenes work in my business. Could we just jump on a call? And I just want to talk to you for 15 minutes about your experience working with me. And then you get to like dive in. You also can get some good testimonials and case studies and great things like that. But you get their language, and having their language and how they see their life and the problems that they struggle with and the impact that those problems have, that's marketing gold. Like that, like you can just put some of those words on your sales page. So for instance, I have a done for you marketing message service, and the headline is something like great at sales, but not getting enough sales calls, right? And why that's the headline is because most of my best clients tell me how great they are at sales. And if they can just get somebody on the phone, they know that they can close the deal. They just don't have enough people to talk to. And it's like, great, those are my people. And that's how I know I can help them. So I'm going to use that as part of my copy, and I'm going to use that as part of my marketing. So talk to them, and do not chat GPT this. Like, I'm just going to say that right now. Do not just be like, hey, chatty, tell me about who my clients are. Because what ChatGPT is going to do is just scrape the internet for who they think your clients are, and you're just going to get a bunch of mediocre insights instead of really understanding who your people are.
Can we use ChatGPT on the back end of the process? Because what I would do intuitively is ideally record these conversations,
Mm-hmm.
transcribe them, and then I would need to take time to actually sort through what words are being used, what concepts. Are they using feel words? Are they using different like neurolinguistic, like different kind of ways of speaking? I don't know. This is why I need ChatGPT. Am I allowed to use it on the back end?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like inside my community, the Expert Up Club, I have created her name is Moxie, and she is my messaging wing woman. And one of the functions she does is she does analysis of voice of customer research, because she's way faster at it. Like, you don't need a research degree to analyze data anymore. You can really just go in and throw transcripts in, or like if you have open-ended questions, you can throw that all in, and she can pull out themes, she can pull out quotations that you can use. And it's really helpful, because before, that stuff would have taken you days to do, and it's painful. I'm a former researcher. Like, I used to do content analysis. My dissertation was partially content analysis. It is a very painful process, but now we can do it in just an instant. So I'm a big believer in using ChatGPT for things like that, but just not just going to ChatGPT or AI and being like, hey, tell me about who my client is. Like, always human first for me. Like, if you're getting like the human first data, the interviews, and you're putting it in, that's great. Because then you can look at the results and edit them and be like, ooh, I think this is not quite right. Or where did she get that from? But for me, yeah, it makes it so much easier to do this work.
Well, because it's your client, right? It's your business. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
an AI can give you a generic answer, but um, don't we have to bring our full selves to the business to even make it worthwhile?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. So we have to, I mean, I always look at marketing and messaging as two different pieces where it's this, or especially messaging, where the first piece is really becoming that expert in who your client is so you can better understand how to communicate your solution, which is well, with marketing, it's not a great idea to bring all that you can do into your marketing message because that
Sure.
overwhelms. And my thing is, I always tell people, give people a clear door to walk through. And then once they're through, you can surprise and delight them with all the awesomeness that you have, right? And all the things that you can do for them. But we have to figure out like, what is going to make them walk through the door in the first place. Because if you're giving them everything, like your whole self and everything you can do, they get overwhelmed. And then they're like, oh, do I need all of this? Versus where if you're just like, hey, and this is how I can help you, and this is what makes it different,
Mm.
that's a clear door people can walk through.
I love it. So, in a moment, I want to get into marketing, but I want to make sure
Mm-hmm.
we cover messaging. Would you
Mm-hmm.
put the three-word rebellion in the messaging category?
Absolutely. So the three-word rebellion is a like short phrase. So think about start with why, 5-second rule, real business connections, make marketing suck less. So it is essentially a message that you want to be known for. And it is sticky for your clients or for your audience because it kind of just gets into their brain and it makes them curious. I always love start with why as an example of this because I think what Simon Sinek did so brilliantly is he came up with this start with why and people are like, okay, I'm going to start with my why, but then what is my why? And oh my gosh, I need to figure out what my why is. And then they're down the Simon Sinek rabbit hole. And I was like, oh, brilliant. So, why don't we create a message that really encapsulates the change that you want to create for your audience and that you can use again and again? And it really serves as that umbrella message that everything else fits under.
Mm.
So,
Start with
yeah.
why is so good. We literally started with why as an example of a marketing rebellion message.
Mhm.
Start with why. So darn good. But I don't have start
Mhm.
with why. How do I create my own? How did you create your own?
Well, I read my book. So for me, yeah, like I do have a book that takes you all through this, but for me, I really use a free writing process to come up with this. So free writing on questions on like, what change do you want to create? What are you rebelling against? And then analyzing it for like turns of phrase for things that you say all the time. And I really believe like your three-word rebellion most likely already exists. It's in something you've been saying. Like I have found them buried in the weirdest places, like footers of websites. Like I'm going through client stuff and I'm like, ah, that's really, why is that there? That should be up here. Like that's a really good message.
Hmm.
And even like make marketing suck less came from one of my community members because she just said one day we were on a call, she's like, oh, finally marketing sucks less. And I'm like, that's a good turn of phrase that I could do something with.
Yeah.
So really that is the process. Like we have to get our ideas out of our head and onto paper so that we can look at them more objectively to create our own three-word rebellion so that we have that message that is the anchor, the thing that we want to be known for.
Mm. So we want to be known for it, and I could probably make up a lot of these, but how do we ensure that it's actually going to stick? Do we know if it's sticky prior, or do we just test it out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in the book, I have something called the intrigue loop. And so it's kind of the test for your three-word rebellion because a good three-word rebellion does two things. It makes you lean forward with curiosity And then it makes you think about yourself. And I believe it was Eugene Schwartz in his book, Breakthrough Advertising. He talks about market sophistication. And basically, after a while, we kind of develop message blindness to things. So, like a message like, live your best life. It's 3 words, right? But how many times have you heard it? A million.
Yeah.
It's not going to make you lean forward and it's not going to make you think about yourself. But if you hear something like make marketing suck less, and you're right, my right client, right? You're going to be like, yeah, marketing does suck. How, tell me more. Like, how do I make it suck less? Like, yeah, I want to hear more about this.
Yeah.
And so if you can get them to lean forward in curiosity and then start to think about themselves, then it's like, all right, you've passed the intrigue loop. And you can also try it, like dropping it into conversations with people and seeing if they react to it. If they are leaning forward, testing it with some of your like best clients and asking them like, hey, like, what do you think about this? So that you can get that feedback is so important because like once you feel like, all right, this is getting people to lean in, then really it's all about repetition. Repetition, repetition, repetition.
How do you feel about polls? Like a LinkedIn poll or some ways to poll your audience?
I am not a fan of that. I do not think because you don't know if your right people are answering your LinkedIn poll. You can be getting a bunch of randos on Facebook who would never hire you in a million years, who are not your right clients, telling you that live your best life is a great message and you should go for it because they're not your client. So I not a fan of popularity contests because if I would have done a LinkedIn poll with make marketing suck less, people have been like, oh no, it's too negative.
Sure.
And, but those people also are probably not my right people. They're the people that I want to repel from my messaging. So yeah, not a fan, not a fan of that.
Dang. I just chose a domain name recently using a LinkedIn poll. I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, like I'm a fan of getting people who have paid you in the past or are currently paying you their feedback on messaging. It's like when I did my rebrand a long time ago, like I had 3 different concepts and I sent it to my best clients and was like, which one do you like? And they all liked the same one. And I was like, all right, like these are the people who are paying me. They are my clients. They are resonating with this. It was also the one that I liked too. So it was easy to go with.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, the person paying you also, there's a higher probability they'll become an advocate and make recommendations and referrals to you. And they'll know other people that pay for products when, no shade sent, but someone who never buys anything might not know people that buy things.
Yeah, or buys the things that you are selling.
Specifically, yeah. So does marketing suck? We need to make it suck less?
I think for experts, it definitely does suck. And one of the reasons I decided to go forward with that message is because I feel like we get gaslit about how easy marketing is because there's all these podcasts like online marketing made easy, marketing made simple. And it's like, it's really not. Like when I was in corporate, I would sit in boardrooms after a marketing campaign with really smart MBAs who were like, I don't know why this didn't work. So it even sucks for big companies because they don't know why some things take off and why they don't, even when they spend like $1 million doing research beforehand. Like it was just missing something. And so for me, for experts, they're so often told like, oh, you've got to be on social media. You've got to be doing all of this broadcasting, have a podcast, be on YouTube, be omnipresent. And a lot of, or, do short form content. Short form content is terrible for experts because we think in nuance and
Mhm.
not 7-second clips. So for me, they are following all of the advice of some of like the big name creators that are out there who need to build a huge audience because they're monetizing their audience and they think, well, I have to be on social media because everybody is saying it, and not realizing like, oh my gosh, I have so many options. Like I don't actually need to be on social at all. And I'm also selling a service or selling a group program. I don't need tens of thousands of people. Like one of my clients, she's a B2B consultant. And when we first started working together, she was like, oh, I need to have I'm doing my email list. I'm on Instagram. I'm like, why are you on Instagram? This makes no sense to me. And what she ended up doing is she threw all of that away and really doubled down on the relationships that she had because she only needs like 3 clients a year. So
Mm.
why is she doing all of that? And she was doing it because that's what she thought she had to do. And that makes marketing suck.
Well, let's say you only need 3 clients a year, and
Mm-hmm.
God forbid you lose all three. You got to, what do you do now? You actually have to start marketing, right? That seems like quite the predicament. I found
Yeah.
myself in an area like this. I lost a big client and I'm like, oh, I've been lazy. Now I need to find a replacement.
Yeah, I think that's why no matter if you are fully booked with clients, like for someone like Camille,
Yeah.
like she's been really good at building her network and like meeting meeting new people within an organization. So she has a network she can rely on. So if she loses a client, she can go to her network and be like, have you heard of anything? Do you know of anything? I think where we get into problems is like where oh, I'm totally booked out with clients. And then we stop marketing because we don't have a way to market that's sustainable because solo business owners, we are juggling marketing and sales and client delivery and living our life and the world around us. And the thing is, it's like you have to have a sustainable way to market, even when you are totally booked up with clients, so that doesn't happen to you.
Then how do we find a sustainable way to market? So you already mentioned, I believe in omnipresence, but it can be freaking overwhelming to try to be
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. Is it picking one platform? Is it niching to a specific kind of person? Like, what do we do?
Yeah. So I do have a free email course called Market Like an Expert that really helps you
Hmm.
flesh out what your marketing strategy should be. And so I think the first thing is to realize that marketing has 3 jobs and 3 jobs only it does for you. Number one, it helps you either grow your audience or grow your brand awareness and reputation. That's job number one. Number two, it helps you engage and nurture people, meaning you are getting them ready for your work. I feel like a lot of times experts are giving all of this like how to content,
Hmm.
and really that's not what they should be doing. They should be figuring out like what are the things I need to say in order to get ready to get people into my sales process. And then the final part is making the offer, right? How are we inviting people in to our world? And so for each of these 3 jobs that I call grow, engage, offer, like for grow, if you are a soloist, you need one, maybe 2 tactics. So that might be one social media platform. And maybe you're doing something like, oh, I'm doing lead magnet swaps. And sometimes you don't even need a social media platform. Like I'm not on social media. I just do lead magnet swaps and collaborations and I host my summit. Like that all helps me grow my audience. And like I can still use LinkedIn if I want, but I'm not reliant on an algorithm for growing my audience. And then when we think about engage, it's like, all right, like for a lot of us, maybe not B2B consultants, they need more of like a CRM, but Our email list is a place we can do that. We can do a podcast or blogging, but we don't have to do all of the things. So having just one or two tactics that allow you to market and cover all of the jobs is what you need. Like, you don't need omnipresence. Like, we are not Gary V, or at least my clients are not Gary V. They do not have a media team following them around, taking video, repurposing whatever gems he drops, and then posting it everywhere. So unless you have a team, you are a creator who needs a big audience to monetize or help you get speaking gigs. Like, omnipresence is just going to spread you too thin, and you're going to find out you're not doing any marketing well at all, and you're not seeing the results you need.
Doubling down on something you mentioned earlier on engage, what's wrong with how-to content? How-to content's a no-no?
I think for experts, because experts, we want people to hire us to do things for them, right? So when we put out how-to content, we are signaling like, you can do this yourself, right? Like, that's the message. Like, here are the steps. You can do this yourself. And I think how-to content works really well for creators who are monetizing their audience and they have like big courses or whatever it is they're selling. But if we want to be hired for our expertise, number one, we know the step-by-steps don't work because it depends, right? Like, how I would create a message for you is not going to be like how I create a message for someone else. So I can walk you through the steps, but it's going to depend on how they're actually executed. So I think it's hard content to write, but also it's just that subtle message of like, you don't need me. You can do this yourself. I've just shown you for free.
It's I'm thinking out loud right now, but I have a podcast that's very like business marketing, personal growth. But one of my biggest services is doing marketing for other podcasters. But I don't think I've ever really put out an episode that truly like goes through how I do what I do. It's kind of like I'm going to give away everything for free other than the one thing I charge for is for me to do it for you. And none of that was intentional, but the how-toers just go and do it, it seems like. Most of the clients I work with aren't just how-toers. They want someone to go in and get it done for them.
Yeah. And I do think they want someone to get it done for them. I also think there are certain things that people can't do themselves. Like, I think messaging is one of those things. You can't see the label from inside the bottle. It's very hard to see yourself clearly. And I feel like there's so many things you can say about helping people diagnose what problem they have and what's really going on for them, and clearing up misconceptions and talking about your approach. Like, how-to content, you can just ask ChatGPT. It's going to give you the how-tos. How-to content, in my opinion, makes you replaceable because it doesn't have a viewpoint. Like, that's stuff you can Google. It's stuff you can ask AI for. So it makes you a commodity, versus if you are really helping people understand what's happening for them and why it's happening and what the way forward is. It's a different conversation, and you are more unique in positioning yourself differently in front of them.
It's almost like the more nuanced understanding, the more complex the problem, the more customized and creative the solution you're creating for them kind of takes out the capacity just to YouTube a quick question and have it answered easily.
Yeah. Yes.
So the third aspect, we mentioned audience engagement and then like making an offer. Talk about that. What's my offer?
Yeah. So, I don't know what you're selling, so I can't tell you what your offer is, but you shouldn't. Well, I think this is a good point. Like, you shouldn't do messaging or marketing until you know what you're actually offering people. Like, if you don't have an offer, none of this makes sense. I feel like people sometimes skip right to marketing they skip right to marketing and they don't know what they're selling yet, which is a problem because where are you leading people to with your marketing? So offer for me is kind of that awkward transition into now I am going to tell you how you can work with me. And there's like a variety of different marketing tactics from, you could do an open house strategy, email marketing, private tours, consults, launches. Like there's a million different ways you can invite people in. So really it's about figuring out what tactic works best for you. But I think what's interesting is the messaging that you need in that phase, because you do have to like bridge that awkward gap from like, I've been providing value and nurturing you and giving you all these ahas. And now I want you to work with me. And so having your framework developed, I have a concept that I call the why buy statement, which is the most compelling reason to work with you. As the one piece of that transitional messaging, case studies and stories are all the things that help people walk in and get them off the fence to take the next action and enter your sales process.
So we're not done yet, but we're on this topic. How do people work with you?
Yeah. So for me, for the Expert Up Club, which is my community for established solo business owners who are experts in their field, I do a private tour. So what I do is people fill out an intake form. I read it. I then usually go to their website. Well, I always go to their website and kind of check them out and see what's going on with their messaging. I've also now created a messaging diagnostic tool that I'm sending to people that can pinpoint exactly what's going on and what's wrong with their message and why it might not be working. So I can send them that. And then I get on a call with them. And for the first 15 minutes, we just talk about like what their business is, like what's going on, why they think messaging or marketing is a problem for them. And then I share my screen and I show them like 3 resources that I think can make a big difference for them in moving forward from whatever their defined goal is. And that's how I get people into the Expert Up Club. It's very relational because I'm a very big believer in kind of that more relationship marketing and relationship sales. And it's also a good way for me to make sure that, because I want the right people in my community and making sure it's a good fit for them and for us, the community members.
You want to vet that everyone's going to win in that scenario.
Yeah. So that they're going to get what they need and that they're going to, yes, it's about fitting in, but that they're a good fit for the community, that they can feel at home there.
Do you, and those are everything's going to be in the show notes. So if anyone wants to open up the description, scroll down, click some links, multitask, don't crash your car doing this, but all that info is there for us. And another thing I'll put in the show notes is you're a podcaster as well. Let's talk about that. You like to podcast?
I do. I have 2 podcasts. So I have Make Marketing Suck Less. Haha. That message is coming up again, which just reached its 400th episode. Wow, so, congrats. and it's really just all the things that I think for expert business owners are important, and my thoughts around how to make marketing suck less for them. And so it's a great podcast. I just put it on hiatus after the 400th episode because I need a little break for the summer. Yeah. Yes. And then I also have duped the dark side of online business with my friend Maggie Patterson. And so we talk about scams and grifts and cults and nefarious marketing tactics on that podcast.
I want to ride this wave. So let's end some of this conversation by talking about dupe, because dealer's choice. Wait, I'm the dealer. Your choice. How do you say the opposite of dealer's choice? What's a scam, a cult, a fake guru? that you're comfortable calling out as just duping people BS?
Well, and this goes to a conversation you and I were having right before is
Sure.
Maggie and I just recorded our Patreon episode for June, and it was based on a YouTube video from this journalist named Scott Carney. He's an independent journalist, and he did a video called Mel Robbins and Jay Shetty Are Evil Geniuses. And I was fascinated by his breakdown because one of the things I see so much in online business is that business owners, or as I like to call them, the web celebs, are really good at creating a parasocial relationship with you, which is that one-sided relationship where you feel like you know them, you feel like they're your friend, like
Yeah,
you know
we're
their
besties.
kids'
We're
names.
besties, yeah.
Yeah. And in actuality, they don't know anything about you. And what Carney did really well in this video was talking about how Mel Robbins weaponizes parasocial relationships to grow her podcast, because now she's bigger than Joe Rogan, which I thought was fascinating. She has the #1 podcast, but she does it through things like saying, like, if anyone hasn't told you today, I love you. Or she starts her podcast with, it's your good friend Mel. Or when she's asking you to share your podcast, she says things like, it would mean a lot to me if you shared this with someone you know.
Like,
And
you're
it's,
doing me such a big favor, friend to friend. The biggest favor you can do for me, and then we go into psychology, is you do a favor, then you want to do more favors for them. But
yes, yeah, it's a little foot in the door, right? And it was fascinating because she's really cultivating this parasocial relationship with her audience so that they share her message, grow her platform so she sells more books, gets more speaking gigs, is able to get better sponsors for her podcast, all of that jazz. So everything she does, she's making you feel like, you're doing, like this is all about friendship and love, but everything she asks you to do just benefits her.
your take specifically, evil genius or just a sweet person that has just happened to be good at building an audience?
I have such complex feelings about Mel Robbins. I think she has morphed into an evil genius. I don't think she started that way. I've always thought she was an incredible marketer.
Yeah.
One of the things, the 3-word rebellion, my framework came about because of her 5-second rule, because I was like, wow, what a brilliant message. 5-second
She
rule.
didn't come up with that, though. That was in dating books, like The Game, like 20 years ago. It's kind of weird. This is a side note. She did not come up with any of that.
She packaged it, right? She did the packaging, calling it the 5-second rule, making people curious, because none of her work is original, like at all. Like 5-second rule, high five habit, the let them theory, all of that stuff has existed. She is great at marketing it. And so she, like, the 5-second rule inspired me to think of, like, come up with the 3-word rebellion, because I was like, oh, this is such a sticky message. And then people are like, what is the 5-second rule? And should I be using it? And then they're hooked. So I think she was always been an incredible marketer. But then I feel like after, like, her star really started to rise, then unfortunately, she wants more, like more audience, more money. And so then I think you start doing nefarious things that are manipulative of your audience. Like, I cannot, like, all of, like, the way she talks on her podcast, I can't believe that is not with intent and purposeful. Sure. It has to be, because she is such a good marketer.
And you'd mentioned Joe Rogan's short tangent, not even saying I like him, but similar concept, him putting out 4.5-hour episodes. What a great way that by the end of the episode, you feel like you're in the room having a chit chat with everyone. Again, parasocial relationships.
Yep.
That's probably why they're #1 and 2, is because people get emotionally invested in their host.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the other thing that's interesting about Mel Robbins is she
Yeah.
has her family on as guests. So
Oh,
something
wow.
will happen in her family and she brings her son Sawyer. Like, why do I know her youngest son's name? Right. And they talk about it. And then she
Yeah.
applies like her like self-help lens to it. But now
Yeah.
you feel like, oh, I'm a part of her family too.
So, since we're on Robbins, it seems like anyone with the last name Robbins. How do you feel about Big Tony Robbins?
Not a fan. Not a fan. I did watch his documentary, I'm Not Your Guru, and I left feeling
Sure.
like, no, you are my guru, or you want to
Yeah.
be my guru.
Only a guru would say I'm not your guru.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So not a
Evil
fan.
genius. Not a fan. Evil genius for sure.
Yeah. And this I could digress into La La Land, but like at some point you've achieved everything that you could possibly need. You have plenty of money, plenty of fans. At some point I just want to hide off in my cave, go hiking and do my thing. It's like once you get to a certain level, what makes people want to still level up? Like is I don't know. It just it I don't it doesn't resonate with me to want to be that like idolized and big.
I know. I feel like it's late stage capitalism,
Okay.
that pursuit of more.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I needed.
Yeah, please take
Sorry.
your time.
Mm.
Capitalism really kind of gets people fired up.
But it's that not knowing what enough looks like.
Sure.
And more is always better because you strike me as the type of person who knows what enough looks like, right? Like you have that defined for yourself where you would want to go like, okay, this is good.
Well,
I'm gonna go live in my
I'm yes
cave.
and like what I have right now is enough.
Mm-hmm.
I could yes and it all day. Like I could do more,
Mm-hmm.
but at, I also have enough now. The
Yeah.
more is not going to make it more enough. It's just going to make it easier for me to do things.
Yeah. And once you get to the level where it's easier for you to do the things that you want to do, you're like, okay, good. I don't have to like keep
Yeah.
chasing because I can do the things that I want to do. And I feel like a lot of these like huge names, they get to a certain level and it's still like more is better. And in order to get more, I think you have to start being more manipulative to get more people into your ecosystem.
You know, this is fair because the people whether you love these people we're talking about or not, there's no judgment. They're just
Yeah.
not your people.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think about it, you're like talking about let's make marketing suck less. And the people in question love marketing so much. They live and die marketing. So they're not the
Yeah.
kind of person that thinks that it sucks.
No, no. Like, and they're the kind of person who's willing to do whatever
Yeah.
to grow their audience and get to their next growth goal, whatever that is, 20%, 50%, whatever it is. They want to, however big they want to grow their business.
So this isn't a judgment at all. Have you ever done like a marketing thing that you learned somewhere and you just felt icky? You felt manipulative, you felt out of pocket. Has that happened to you?
Yeah. Like, honestly, when I first started my business back in the day, I signed up for a training from a very well known web celeb at the time. And it was the first training, and I was sitting there. And he said, oh, well, if you don't have expertise, that's not a problem. Because what you really need is an overcoming story. Like, tell us, like, how you overcame a big problem and that lets you make like all of this money. And I'm like, yeah, but what if you're a real expert? Like, why do I need that story? Like, if
Sure.
I actually know what I'm doing. And I was like, oh, this isn't for me. Like, and that felt gross. And I know for so many of my clients, they hear things like that and they're like, oh, I don't have a story like that. Like, I just, one foot in front of the other. Like, there's no, like, I was sleeping by my best friend's toilet, $1 million in credit card debt. And then I started this business and now I'm living in Bali, right? Like they don't have that story. So I was just like, oh, that just felt so gross. And I couldn't understand, like, why would someone want to hire someone just because they got rich quickly? And I'm like, oh, well, got rich quickly. That's the thing.
Oh man. Even if it's not a big story, I feel like a lot of marketers are like, I'm just like you. I, like you, were once broke and sad and confused.
Mhm.
And I'm like, dude or girl, like, we know your parents. You never were broke. It's okay that you weren't broke, but they're just
I
using it
know.
for leverage. I'm not saying being rich is bad or broke is bad, but they use these stories for leverage, whether or not they're true. For me, I think we all have a unique story, but are you
Mhm.
telling someone else's story or are you telling your story? That's the distinction a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. And I think going full circle, I think for experts, a lot of times we have a hard time talking about ourselves because I mean, for me, like I am a very private person.
Mm.
Like there are certain things I will talk about, I don't have a problem with. But then there are other things that are off limits, and I don't feel like I need to chop myself up into tiny pieces and tell you my most vulnerable things to make you want to work with me. Like, that is not how I want to market. I think it's not how a lot of, like, most experts don't want to market that way. But it's a model that we see over and over again, especially from some of like the big names where they
Mm.
are sharing very traumatic stories with their audience. And then that leaves their audience holding the bag of somebody else's trauma, where it's like, like when a friend tells you, like, oh, this terrible thing happened to me, like your instinct is like, oh my gosh, what happened? How can I help? And when you get an email in your inbox and they're telling you something about like how they were in a cult and it was abusive and they're detailing all of that, like your only action is like, well, I how can I help? Well, I guess I can buy your thing. It feels so weird. Like I don't want to know that about you. Like I signed up for a specific reason to your email list,
Mm.
not to be the holder of your trauma.
You don't want a trauma bond with me?
No, I do not. I do not want to be trauma bonding with anyone.
If what you're about, Michelle, and the messaging actually is resonating for someone, tell us once again, like, what's the one or two, or you tell us, what's the best way to like get in your world,
Mhm.
learn more, say hello?
Yes, yes. So the best way, and I feel like this for what our conversation, the best bang for your buck is to get the Market Like an Expert 7-day course, because it will really show you how you can start doing less marketing and seeing better results. So I will give Ben the link to that and he will hook you up in the show
Nice.
notes. And that will get you on my email list, which is really the best way to connect with me. Hit reply to any email I send. I will respond. I am very responsive. And yeah, I'd love to get to know you that way. So that's the best way.
Yeah, and I'll make sure it's in the notes. And such a pro tip, what you just said. Part of how Ben, who I don't know, I might be an expert, I'm very self deprecating. Part of how I get connected to so many brilliant people, have such fantastic guests on, is just replying to emails, even with just a few words, sending a direct message. Like I'm literally just sending a message. So if you're subscribed to Michelle's email, write a few words, say hello. It's literally how
Mhm.
I built my network. And I encourage everyone to do that to you because I want to flood your inbox and you'll be like, oh man, why did I say that?
No, I love it. I love it because I feel sometimes like marketing can be lonely.
Sure.
And when somebody just comes in and says something like, oh, I really love that you said this, or hey, I had a question about that, I get so excited. Like, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to meet somebody cool today. I get to help someone, or what I said made a difference to
Mm.
someone. And I think we need we all need that, and we can do that for each other because I'm a big fan. Like, I have met people from replying to their emails. Like, and you don't, like, you're not asking them for anything. You're just telling them how they impacted you. That's it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. This was a ton of fun.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So much fun. Thank you for having me, Ben.
We'll chat soon.